everyone, it is Bebe. Welcome back to my channel. So in case you missed my recent videos, my recent vlogs, I went to EDC this year and I did in fact do Camp EDC. And this was not only my first EDC Vegas, but also my first time ever camping at a festival. I kind of knew that once I experienced it, I wanted to do a video like this where I just talked about Camp EDC in general. I always do festival recap and reviews after I go to certain events on my channel, but Camp EDC in my opinion deserved its own video because it's like a whole almost separate even though it's still EDC, like part of EDC, it just would be so much to put in one video. So I'm doing this one separately for camp. We're going to talk about literally everything, the vendors, the parties, the amenities, everything you could possibly want to know. We're going to be spilling tea today. Cheers. Kind of a lot to cover, and I broke it down into kind of categories, but let's just jump right into it because we have a lot to talk about. For starters, for context, I flew to Vegas because I'm from New York, so can't really drive to Vegas. I mean, you could, but no. We got there Wednesday, so you can start checking into camp at 9 a.m. on Thursday. We got to Vegas on Wednesday. When I say we, it was me, Emma, Capotis, Vibe with Aid, and Aid's boyfriend Chase. So the four of us, we did Moonglow camping, which is basically like GA camping. So your tent, all tents at Camp EDC come preset for you, which is great. They're like shift pods. But if you're doing Moonglow, which is what we did, you have to bring your own like bedding and all that stuff. Whereas if you do Desert Rose, which is like VIP camping basically, your beds come set for you. So we did Moonglow. Flew in on Wednesday. We stayed on the strip Wednesday night. Obviously, since we were flying in, there's only so much that you can fly with for a camping festival. So like I had a sleeping bag and a sleeping pad that are like super compact and like travel sized, but I didn't want to pack a whole lot and fly with a whole lot, and there are certain things that we just had to buy when we were there. So the way we approached it is we did a Walmart pickup order. There was a Walmart like 15 minutes from the strip. So we placed an order like a few days in advance, and then we picked it up on Wednesday. We Ubered to the Walmart, got the pickup order, and then Ubered back to our hotel. And then our friend Ashley got there, who's also on YouTube, drove from LA to Vegas, and she was also camping. So the next day, Thursday, she drove all of us into camp, which was really convenient. And we could all like make sure all of our stuff would fit because she had an extra thing that could like hook onto the back of her Jeep that could carry all of our suitcases, which was clutch. So yeah, we drove to camp on Thursday and she parked her car all weekend. Let's talk the check-in process. We got there roughly, you can start checking in at 9. I want to say we got there around noon on Thursday. No line whatsoever. When we first got there, they checked your vaccine card against your ID, or I guess if you're not vaccinated, your negative test against your ID. And then we checked in immediately. There was no line at all. It was super convenient. They give you your wristbands and then your street, like your tent address basically. So it's like your street number and then your tent number. So we got that, and then after that you go through security. Security did not exist at Camp EDC. It was honestly a little worrying because you never know what some people are going to be bringing in. Weapons wise, it kind of worried me a bit, but yeah, the security guy literally unzipped my suitcase, saw how full it was, and was like he wasn't gonna go. I thought they were gonna go through literally everything. They did not whatsoever. So yeah, and there was no line at security either. So, but you do have to, so this is another thing, every time you leave the campgrounds and come back, including if you go to your car, like if your car is parked and come back, you have to go through security every single time. So we dropped all of our initial stuff off at our tent, and we got so lucky with our tent spot. We were in Sapphire, which I will pop up a map here. Basically, besides Desert Rose, which is like the VIP camping, and besides the RV camping lot, we were the closest section to the festival entrance while still being Moonglow, so just GA, which was so amazing. I would definitely want to be in that spot again in May, when I go in May. We had bathrooms and showers right by us, so close to the festival entrance, but also far away enough from the mesa where it wasn't a very long walk to the mesa. It was probably like a 5-minute walk, but also I liked not being like literally right outside the mesa because the music does get very loud, especially when you're trying to sleep at night. So yeah, we had Sapphire. I really liked it. So we dropped our initial stuff off, and then we had a tent lock malfunction at first because Emma thought she accidentally threw out the key. It's a long story. The point is we had a malfunction. Emma, Aiden, and Chase went back to get the rest of our stuff while I stayed and watched all of what was already dropped off, just to make sure. You never know with camping festivals. Our neighbors were fantastic. They literally said from the get-go, like, we'll watch your stuff if you watch ours. Definitely need, if you have a lot of stuff, besides, like, if you're gonna do 2 trips or you just have a lot that you can't wheel, you're gonna need a wagon, just because the terrain is like super rocky. When we did our Walmart pickup order, we put down a wagon in the order, but then we got there and they didn't have any left, so I guess they just like overestimated how many people were gonna be picking up wagons for Camp EDC that day. So we did not have a wagon, but our other friends did, so we got to borrow it, which was, thank God, because depending on where you're parked, like where your car is parked and how far your tent is, like where in camp it's located, it could be a pretty far walk. So a wagon is definitely a must, or just something like to wheel your stuff in. And don't bring, this is so important, don't bring a shitty suitcase or one that's like might break easily, because dragging it along like that dirt, it's super rocky and super dusty and dirty, and it's not a smooth surface, except like when you're walking into security, then they have like a flat surface, so it's easier to roll. And then obviously once you're on the turf, then you're on the turf. But don't bring a shitty suitcase, because it will break. I honestly felt like mine was gonna break at times, and I have a very sturdy one, so keep that in mind. Okay, let's talk about the tent, the amenities. So obviously it's shift pods, so they all look the same. So depending on where you're located, it would help to, I mean, we decorated ours just because we wanted to decorate ours. We didn't really need to worry about finding it at night, because we were the one in from the last one on the row. And like I said, we were the last section before RVs, so it was really easy to find our tent. We didn't have to worry about that, but we still decorated ours. We put flags, we had fairy lights on the outside. My other friends did the same thing who were across from us, so it's nice. Everyone kind of like, not everyone, but a lot of people put flags and lights and things to decorate their tent, which is fun. There are power outlets in the tent, thank God, obviously, because me vlogging, I need to be able to charge my camera and my phone. That's probably one of the main things that always, or probably the main thing that holds me back from camping at festivals, is just I need to have all my shit powered to vlog. It's super nice that EDC has power outlets. You have an entire strip too, like a power strip. If you can hear my cat, I apologize. There was a light, I think, inside the tent, but I don't think we brought our own lantern, because everyone on Reddit said to bring your own light because they're not great. So we had a lantern because it was brighter, but I do believe there is a light somewhere in that tent. And then to save room, because there was 4 of us, you can have up to 4 people in a Moonglow shift pod. We did sleeping pads instead of air mattresses, and that helped save a lot of room. And at Walmart, I bought an extra foam like mattress topper to put under my sleeping pad, and I bought a pillow and a little blanket, just like cheap. Like the pillow was like $3 probably, the blanket was probably like $5–10. And then I like unzipped my sleeping bag so that it functioned like as a blanket also. And I was super comfy. I was really worried about not being comfy, especially because EDC is so physically tough. This shit was literally like the hardest festival I've ever done. Bitch, like my steps, the amount of steps I had was so fucking scary after EDC. Like I think that was the most I've ever had. It's so much. Like you are fully at war with yourself throughout EDC. So I wanted to make sure I was super comfy. So I did all of that to make my bed comfy, and I honestly truly was comfortable sleeping all weekend. So I will definitely be doing that all again in May. The elephant in the room, baby. Let's talk about the air conditioning. If you did not know, so EDC is normally in May, right? And one of the main amenities that is offered at Camp EDC is that every single shift pod or every tent has an air conditioning unit in it. This is something that they advertise constantly, because you really can't camp in Las Vegas in May without air conditioning. I'm pretty sure that would be a health risk. The long story short, we get to camp and there are no AC units. And some people were like spreading rumors saying that they were hiring a different company to bring them in like later in the day. And I was like, that's definitely not true, because how many fucking shift pods are there on these campgrounds, and how long would it take to put a fucking AC unit in each one? I was like, there's no way they're bringing them. And I asked someone at ground control when they were walking by, and they were like, yeah, there's no AC this year. Here's what I will say, because some people, like, I was watching some people's reactions to this online. All I gotta say is, what I will complain about is the fact that it wasn't communicated to us beforehand. Insomniac should have told us before we got there that there was not going to be AC, because in that case we would have bought a little fan at Walmart or something just to have like during the day if we needed it when we were like inside the tent. You know what I mean? Like, it should have been communicated to us beforehand rather than we show up and it's simply not there. It also is a little sus to me because when you pay for Camp EDC, like, you're paying for these amenities, like the cost of the tent, right? So it is a little strange to me that, because there's like, listen, I don't work at Insomniac. I don't know the breakdown of the cost of the tent and what we're actually paying for in that cost, but I would think that air conditioning as an amenity in that tent is like somewhere in that cost that we paid to camp at EDC. So it is a little sus to me that we still paid that price. Like, there wasn't any reduction or partial refunds. Like, that AC had to be part of that cost. That's the other thing I don't like and I will complain about. But again, I don't work at Insomniac. I don't know the fucking tea. The only thing that was bad about not having air... Here's where I get a little frustrated with what I was reading online. People who were saying that it was unbearable not having AC. Bruh. The only thing you really could not do was sit in your tent with it shut during the day. That was when it, because the shift pods trap all of the heat inside. That was the only thing you really couldn't do, but why would you be sitting in your tent with it closed all day? Do you know what I mean? Like, we would be hanging out outside. We would be going to the pool. The pool was cold. The water was fucking freezing at the pool. If you wanted to cool off, there you go. We would lay outside, like, in the shade next to our tent. Like, and there was a nice breeze all throughout the weekend. It just, like... I don't know. I think I'm biased because I've lived in many different places without air conditioning. I do not have air conditioning in this apartment. I only use AC for like 2 months out of the year in New York City when it's like fucking 90 degrees outside. I have lived in Berlin during the European heat wave in 2019. It would be 105 degrees outside and no AC. So to me, being at a camping festival where I don't think it went above 75, 76, 77 degrees Fahrenheit all weekend. So to me, not having AC in that was a piece of cake, honestly. But again, we all have different comfort levels, what we're used to living with. So yeah, I get where people are coming from saying that it was unbearable, but girl, all I gotta say is, like, some of y'all really need to go live somewhere in the world where there is not air conditioning for a little while. Sorry if that comes across as rude, but like, some of the shit I was reading online was, it's giving American. Like, some of y'all in your AC, and the only thing I do understand needing AC for is sleeping. I cannot sleep in a hot room. I really cannot. But at EDC at night, it was like 50, 55 degrees. It was cold. It was cold at night. You had to sleep in layers. We also, our group strategized in that whoever woke up first in the morning would unzip the tent and the windows in the tent so that we wouldn't wake up at like 10, 11 when it started to get hot, fucking sweating because our tent was shut and trapping the heat inside. So in my humble opinion, not having AC was literally not an issue for me at all. I just wish I was informed before I got there, because then maybe I would have got a nice little cute like portable fan, because I did like to get ready in the tent a couple days. I don't know. The long story short is, to me, it literally wasn't a big fucking deal at all, but to some people, like, I could not believe some of the words I was reading online. Like, oh my god, please go live somewhere where there's no air conditioning and then come back to me. Next, let's talk about bathrooms and showers, because obviously something that's great about Camp EDC is that there are actual running water bathrooms instead of porta potties. They still have porta potties around the campgrounds, but you have actual bathroom trailers, which I fucking loved. And we also got so lucky again with our spot because we were so close to the RVs and also so close to this one like trailer area with showers and bathrooms, that because we were right by the RVs, like, people have their own showers and their own bathrooms in the RVs, so literally no one would use those. I never waited in line once to shower. I think the bathrooms get cleaned every single night, like towards the end of the festival. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that they do it between like 3 and 6 a.m. So the bathrooms, they're cleaned throughout the weekend, which is also great. And then they have like these little like running water, almost like sink areas outside the trailers as well. for like brushing your teeth and doing all that stuff. The showers were clean. They had hot water. I think I was usually maybe one of like 2, maybe 3 people in the trailer at any given time. Like, it was so easy. I would always shower either like right after the festival ended, so at like 6 in the morning before I went to sleep, or like midday after the pool parties before the festival started at like 3 p.m. or both. And I think those were like the prime times because I never waited in line. I don't think I ever saw a line for the shower. Maybe at like late morning, like towards like noon-ish. I think maybe I saw some people in line, but again, it would be a line of like 5 people. So like it really was so easy. But I would say the best time to go was like right after the festival ended. Let's talk about the mesa. So the mesa is like the main area in camp that has everything going on. And let me tell you, it has a lot going on. There's a pre-party Thursday night. We went to that. It was super fun. They also have pool parties during the day, every day of the festival. And then they also have after parties after the festival ends. So there is music constantly, literally constantly. You're gonna need earplugs to sleep at night and an eye mask, obviously, because the sun comes up. The pool parties were a lot of fun. The only thing is for camp, it's mostly house music. There was one bass rush pool party, which was a ton of fun. But yeah, like for the house, like all the other amazing artists, don't get me wrong, but it was like literally they were playing like probably 3-4 sets total at EDC like the whole weekend. So I would be like, I don't need to see this artist because I saw them in the festival, or I don't need to see this artist in the festival because I already saw them at camp. Like, it was a lot of the same artists and a lot of house music. So many activities to choose from. We did the infamous goat yoga. It's every day, every morning. There's also a totem making class. They have bingo. There's a fucking roller rink. There is a Ferris wheel. Like, there is so much to do. You will never get bored. I loved having all that stuff during the day. They have a whole, also this side note but important, they have a whole like getting ready area in the mesa. It's like one of those big shaded tents, but then under it they have like mirrors, chairs, power outlets to use hair tools. Although I used my curling iron in the tent. Sorry, Insomniac. You're technically not supposed to do that because it can like blow out the whole power line, but I just unplugged everything else from the power strip, plugged it in, curled my hair super quick, and then unplugged it, and nothing went wrong. So do with that information what you will. I have to give it up to Insomniac for real, because if you think about it, Camp EDC is literally in a parking lot. You are in a parking lot to the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and yet they transform it into this amazing, like, I fucking loved it so much. Like, there was so much to do. Everyone was so nice as well. Everyone who was camping, like, we didn't have any bad vibes, nothing. Everyone was great. So yeah, I honestly give Insomniac a lot of credit for that, because they truly make a parking lot into what Camp EDC is. So let's talk about vendors. So you have your own merch shop inside of camp, which is really nice. Not artist merch though, just EDC merch. If you're gonna buy it the first day, because things sell out. They also have small business vendors. They have hair braiding. There's a general store in case you need like basic items. They also sell ice and cases of like seltzer and beer, but it's cheaper to just bring your own alcohol from outside. The food, because I know a lot of people are curious about this, and I was super curious about this as well. The food at Camp EDC for me was, I say good, but also sometimes a hit or miss. Like, was it amazing? No. But did it do the job? Yes. I was really happy because I'm vegan, and there were in fact vegan options there, which normally isn't always the case at festivals. A lot of festivals just don't have anything ever. But they had vegan like breakfast bowls, burritos, tacos, wraps. Like, they had options, which made me really happy. So if you're a vegan or vegetarian, just know that you're not gonna have to throw it out for the weekend, because I thought I was gonna have to do that and I didn't. So I was happy about that. I don't eat huge meals when traveling to festivals or doing any of that. So like, I was fine with what Camp EDC had to offer. The cost was usually like $15 to $20 for one meal. So I don't know. I liked that I could just walk to the mesa and just get food that easily, instead of, and I would prefer to do that rather than like planning all this like cooking supplies and like bringing your own little like propane grill, stove, whatever, and like all that. Like, that's so much to plan, and I honestly feel like you would end up spending more money doing that, for me personally, because I would only eat like 2 meals a day, and then, or 1 meal a day, depending on how late I woke up. and then snack throughout the rest of the day and night. So for me, it just, especially also because we flew in, it just makes more sense to buy food at camp, and I don't really have anything to complain about camp food. Like, and they have a lot of options. Like I said, they also had food trucks as well, besides like regular like festival food vendors. So I don't know, there's a lot to choose from, so I can't complain about the camp food. Also, I loved that you could bring your own alcohol throughout camp. You could walk around with your own alcohol, bring your own alcohol to the pool parties, the pre-parties, so you didn't have to buy any drinks inside camp, which helps save a lot of money as well. And yes, we would just bring our own alcohol everywhere basically, which was great. That's really it. And then checkouts at 3 p.m. on Monday. We left probably around that time since we slept in super late on Monday, and we just Ubered straight to the airport, which that was an expensive Uber, so don't say I didn't warn you. If you have to Uber straight to the airport after you leave camp, it is a pretty penny. That is my breakdown on Camp EDC. If you guys have any other questions, please drop them below. I'm very happy to answer anything, but that's pretty much the gist of it. I will do some more videos closer to May next year, EDC next year, so that you guys can better prepare. But that was my review on Camp EDC this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, definitely check out my vlogs if you haven't already. They give the best first-hand view of if you really want to know what it's like. I will see you guys in my next video, or I will see you at EDC Orlando, because that's literally like now. So, you know, subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, bye guys.